Hello YouTube, this is Chris Gill, External Services. I'm going to try to make a little bit shorter video than my last video. If you haven't seen that, please go watch that. Yes, I know it's long, but there's so much information in that video you need to see. Um, but in that video, I, when I was watching one of the rocket launches of NASA, and well, we were watching it in the video, um, I had an idea, and I'm kind of wondering if it was, well, I'm pretty sure it was God giving me the idea because I went on YouTube just now just to watch some videos, and a video popped up, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And the video that I was talking about in that last one, that one I was just showing you that you probably should go watch. I know it's an hour and a half, but it'll be well worth your time. Um, I speculated of why I gave reasons why first of how um weather balloons with satellites on them, they could keep them controlled, like a drone, uh, or the wind, but most likely a drone, and that would keep the satellites out of mountain areas because on NASA's model, it wouldn't be. You got satellites supposedly all around the globe, so but on a biblical flat Earth and using weather balloons. With satellites and different things like that, it'd be a lot easier to control to where the satellite signals are. And then when the New World Order hits, they can just kill all satellites by popping the balloons. And you won't have any satellites. You won't have that. I think that's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going. And any ones that they have up there, like ones with laser beams, which I'll show you again in this video, but I talked about it in the other one. They can keep those up there, but they can, you know, they could most likely push a button which pops the balloon because it is a balloon. Um, Whether it's got a machine on it that pops out a needle or something and pops the balloon or whatever, but that'd be a way to lose satellites and keep up their stuff that they want, which would be also a good way to use for like Project Bluebeam for a false second coming or a false alien invasion. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, there's limitless possibilities of what they could do with this little bit of technology as a weather balloon. So, uh, what I speculated was that they could like this. This wasn't speculation. This I said it was fact. uh, that they could, on a biblical flat Earth, have these weather balloons uh, or high altitude balloons, whatever, up in space, and when NASA does their launches, they could, when the rocket when it's arcing, when it goes level, they could be shooting the payload off, and that's still possible. That they're doing that, and then the weather balloon pops out and fills up full of air, kind of like a hot air balloon, and then it just floats up to where what the real outer space is under the dome. But there's also another way they could do it too, is that they could, and I'm going to show you the technology is possible to do what I was saying about controlling it like a drone. That I believe God was telling me that, and then he put the video as a recommended on my channel for me to watch it. Is they could launch it from another location, which they do all the time, like you're seeing here. They launch weather balloons from other locations all the time, and then fly it into the location where they want it. So it matches when that rocket goes on its arc and lands in the ocean, and the Navy goes and picks it up, that most people don't know about. Um, and then they can switch the camera feed to whatever camera they have on that weather balloon to match, and they can have, like a satellite on it or whatever. So, and then have a camera or another spaceship or whatever. Um, and then they can just switch that feed to there. So it looks like that rocket actually made it into space. And then they can have on there whatever they want, and they can have all kinds of fake cartoon images and CGI and what have you, and just have it playing uh, on a loop. Like their live does. Their live is clearly on a loop where it shows the ISS over the Earth. That's clearly on a loop. I've caught multiple times watching that where the same thing will reappear. And if you notice, even on their live, conveniently we lost feed. Convenient, somehow we lost signal, or we lost this, or this happened, or we're fixing an issue with the computer system, or we're fixing an issue with the camera, or whatever. What if that's them putting more images in? Uploading more images into the camera and then calling it live. You get what I'm saying? See what I mean? There's limitless possibilities. But check this out, guys. Look at this. That is very, very possible. Okay. So I clicked on this to revisit it because of what I'm talking about. Maybe people will watch this, even if they don't watch the other one, because it's very important when I mentioned about the laser weapons, and I'll link this in the description box below and the video so that you can go watch it in its entirety. It's a couple minutes long, and you can go read this. But what they did in the M word ends with owie, with the laser weapon and the fire, and they're trying to say it was global warming or some crap like that. Google laser beam, the film reel, genius, 60 miles between balloon. The laser was shot from a balloon 20 miles above the Nevada desert. Its target was 1.5 inch hole and another balloon on another balloon. Val Kilmer never had it better, like Batman. But so the technology is there, and how much easier would it be to yes, the technology's on ships and Navy ships and stuff like that. It's been proven. Minutes of Horror did a video about it, and I've talked about it, and I've shared the video on my community section, in different places, all my media about it. The technology's been there for many, 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 many years. But how much easier would it be and less seen if you're flying a high altitude balloon in the real outer space under the dome and fly it into position and use the same technology that they've proven are on military ships that are invisible and that could take a jet down, and they wouldn't even know it. The jet wouldn't even know it. The pilot wouldn't know it. Rather, they would just take it down, cut it right in half. So put that on a high altitude balloon, a weather balloon, and how much more damage could you cause and nobody would even know? And is that what those green lights were that they said was China testing the air? That was another video that Minutes of Horror did. Go check his channel. I'll link his channel also in the description to go check it out because he's done tons of videos on this. But, this is the what I showed in the video. And they used a fisheye lens, which I showed in that video as well, and proved it to give the curvature of the Earth. Go check that video out. I know it's long, but there's a lot of information in that video. And I'm trying to make this short. And then you got this one here. Look at that. Send Raspberry Pi to near space with high altitude balloons. No, that is space. That's the biblical space. That's the space between the biblical flat Earth and the dome. The devil space, NASA space, is with all the pagan planets, solar systems, and galaxies. But anyway, look at that. That's what you would think. That's an image NASA would do. HAB, high altitude balloons, can help Raspberry Pi touch outer space, celebrate the launch of the Apollo 50 by learning all the Raspberry Pi in space. learning all about Raspberry Pi in space. So apparently and 4 years ago they sent a Raspberry Pi in space with a high altitude weapon or a balloon. So I mean, it's very possible. That they're. I still think that it's possible that they when the ship or the rocket is leveling out, that they're shooting it out because it's not without a camera, it's not in eye view. So I think, and a lot of times the cameras that are there and filming is part of NASA, that NASA uses on their channel and stuff like that. And so if you notice, the camera sometimes will pan away or it'll cut to a different image. That could be when they're shooting that payload. But it's also very, 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 very possible for them to fly it from another direction in what's actually outer space, and whatever camera they have or whatever lenses they're using or whatever images they want to put on it or whatever, and then stream it back. That's another possibility too. And they can stream it back to NASA, and then they can have another computer that they're using for live stream and just live streaming the screen that's putting the images back from the real outer space between Earth and the dome. I mean, there's so many possibilities they can do with this stuff, and it's very little, very, very, very little money and effort and whatever. So this is the channel here. I need to watch. I'm going to watch more of his channel. Obviously, he believes in the fake globe model, but I'm going to watch more of his channel as well, and see what he's all about. But this video popped up on my recommended. If he can do this a year ago, he's coming up with this technology. What do you think NASA can do with the 58 or 50 or 55 billion dollars per person per seat to send them, not counting food or resources or anything else, just per person, button a seat? That's what it costs. 55, or I think it's 50 or 55 billion dollars. What do you think they can do? And with all their top scientists and everything else, their engineers and so on, what do you think they can do? But listen to this guy. I'm not going to play all of it because I don't want to get copyrighted, and I want you to go watch his video all in.
How to
Oh, hold on. I forgot to plug my headset in. Give me a second. Well, to you, it won't be but a second. I just didn't want it to echo. So I had to put my headset on because I've got a mic and a headset. They're separate, and I need to get me one that's not. Anyway, so listen to this, guys.
how to make a high altitude drone. Hey, JP here. We've been experimenting with hybrids of drones and balloons. The balloon takes the load off the propellers, and that opens the way for high altitude flight, while the quad set of propellers gives greater control. Our tandem and micro-tandem airships are part of that research. However, there is one that we've been working on in the shop that we haven't shown yet. We call it HiBot. This will be a drone that can fly to 140,000 feet.
That is exactly the image you get from NASA. And that is the biblical flat Earth. And this is the actual space, no stars, no satellites, that's in between Earth and the dome. That's why he showed this image, because that's how far it can go up.
HiBot is a mix of parts from our other airships and balloon platforms and conventional quad drones. The first thing we made was the ring.
I don't want to get hit with copyright for the music, and I'm going to be stopping it here pretty soon. But look, just like I showed in the other video, how easily they made a setup to take an iPhone to space or a guitar to space. Look how easily he's doing this. he doesn't have it completed yet. But again, if he can do this kind of a year ago in his drone in his garage.
The balloon sits on the ring like a scoop of ice cream on a cone. This configuration keeps the balloon stable relative to the structure. The balloon will expand to 62 feet in diameter at peak altitude.
So it expands as it's going into the atmosphere, which would match, like I said about the rocket, if they were launching it when the rocket went level, if they launched it, it would expand as it was after it was launched. It could be pulled something like a parachute or something with a pull cord, and it could start the process. And then as it was rising, it was filling up more. Or like I said, they could travel from another location, like a drone, and bring it to where they want it. Like this. See the propellers? Like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. But yeah, I'm not crazy. Look at this. I mean, that's nuts. And I never thought about that before. But tonight, when I was making that other video, like I said, I recommend you go watch it. This one here, I know it's long, but there's a lot of information I put into that and a lot of hard work. Um, if, you know, he can do something like that, NASA could too, very easily, whether it be shooting it from a rocket when the rocket's leveled out before it completes, a nosedive and then goes down into the ocean, or they fly it from another location. It's very, very possible. Either direction, either way. But it would explain a whole bunch. A whole bunch. It would explain on the way NASA operates and what we see what they put out. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. Um, use all the links in the About Me section. Rate, comment, subscribe. Go check that video out. Watch it all the way in its entirety. Rate, comment, subscribe. Much love. God bless. And I'll see you on the next one.